Recorded at home. Okay, all set.
All set?
Yep.
All right, it's 5:01. I'm going to call a meeting to order. And the first thing on our topics for tonight is the acceptance of the minutes of the last meeting. Everybody have a chance to look them over?
So we need a motion to accept?
Yeah.
So
Does anybody?
I think as the person who wrote them, I can't make the motion. Someone else has to, I can, yeah, right.
I'll
So,
make the motion.
okay, great.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right, motion's made and second to accept the minutes of the last meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous.
Okay.
And second item on the docket is the renovation and the flooring. To let you know what's going on with the renovations, it's progressing. 3/4, 2/3 of the building has been painted and the trim has been done. They should be done with the painting by the end of the week. And then we'll be ready for the flooring. And I don't know if you got a chance to see the flooring.
I sent the link out with the meeting materials. If you guys need to see I can call it up and share the screen if you want. But it's a wood laminate that is a light color, so I think it's gonna be nice.
It's called weathered oak.
Yeah.
And it brings in the blue,
Yeah.
the tan on the walls, and the dark color on the bookcases.
Yeah.
It brings it all together,
It looks really good.
and it's got a 30-year warranty.
It's got a 30-year commercial warranty. So
30-year commercial, which
yeah.
is going to go beyond that because we're not going to have the traffic.
yeah.
That-
So just so you guys know, when I met with Dennis to talk about this, and he basically said, don't get something cheap, get something that's going to last. The last time I think that carpet was placed was 50 years ago. That's the estimate. It definitely hadn't been done in 30 years. So it lives its nice long life. So we got a quote from Carl, and the meeting materials I sent out to you, what estimates could be. It was like 6,900 to 10,000. So the quote is within our zip codes area of a reasonable price for the product. And moving forward, getting this ordered and getting it going is a priority. So I also indicated that the funding for it, basically they weren't planning on this extensive of a renovation. It was paint, but once we saw we had everything moved, it didn't make sense not to make it a little more expensive than it was. So the town is asking for us to pay for this out of our gift fund. The gift fund has $7,600 something in it. The quote is $8,022. So we'll have to use a little bit of our own budget money, but we're going to be saving money on the Crimfield comments and a lot of things. So it's definitely within our budget to do this, and I really think it's time. If it's going to be beautiful to have a beautiful new flooring as well as painted walls and ceiling, and the town is going to take care of the lighting and hopefully getting an air conditioning system in there before summer. They're putting some money behind it too. They're asking us to put some of our money behind it. So I'm willing to make a motion that we buy the flooring for a quote of $8,022, spending the majority of it from our gift fund. We'll probably leave $100 or so in there just so we don't deplete the fund. And then the remainder out of the municipal budget, which is $4,500. And we have, all we've spent on that is the $200 for the constant contact, and whatever was it $300 we committed, Steve, for the $400 or whatever for the marker.
Yeah, it was 375. Yep.
300-400. Yep. So we have enough money. And the other thing, if we do run low on funds, we can go to Maytown meeting and ask for supplemental funds if things, if there's other things we have to spend money on this fiscal year. But I think this is a really good new beginning for us. So I'm making a motion.
I just have one question on that, Bernadette.
Yeah.
Was it 8,022 or 8,200?
No, 8022. I got it right in front of me.
802.
He brought it down.
Okay.
8 in front of
All
me.
right.
Yeah. He brought it down a couple from what we were talking about. It's 8022. I have the written thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was. I just want to let the Steve and Franco know he's a town resident and he's going to work with us. And another thing that has to be taken into consideration is the fact that he's got to come twice. What he's going to do is do 3/4 of the museum. Then he's going to put a kind of like a disposable end to it and tape it down while we move everything over to the finish side, and then rip up the carpeting and paint, and I'll take
Yeah.
care of that electrical that's going around
Yeah.
the room like I did on the other side. And then when that's all completed, painted,
Yeah.
and ready for the flooring, he's going to come back and finish it, and that's all included in the price.
So it is different, a different project. It's not, it's not as typical in and out in 1 day or 2 days and get things done. He's done work at the library. Does great, he's a Bellingham resident, so I think it's a good match for us, and the price is in line with what laminate pricing is for a thing that size.
Did you try getting other proposals? It's just in my nature as a contractor to do that.
I did not, because I thought the time was of the essence kind of here. I think we need to keep moving on it. But I don't know if you saw, when I did my notes that I sent out. So I found out a website that does laminate estimation calculators. I put in our zip code, I put in the square feet, and the price range was $6,900 to $10,419. So it's kind of on a little bit lower end of what a flooring calculator, including installation, not including removing the flooring. Basically you can check off the things that they're doing, and it was within those parameters. And we don't have to. Anything under 10,000, you actually do not have to get multiple quotes.
But the thing I think that leaned heavily with us is the fact that he's done work at the library and he's a town resident.
He's done work in other town buildings too. I think he did Macy. I think he did Macy.
They've used them a lot.
I think he did Macy before the last carpet that was done at Macy before they tore it down too.
Yeah. So
when is it necessary to begin and end by? Is there?
There isn't a really end date, but the longer we wait to move on it, the painting guy is ready to paint as soon as we move everything. You know what I mean? I don't know what their timeline is. Do you know more about that, Rick?
Well, they're
going to be off for a week. They're going to be off while the flooring's being put down.
They're going to be off. And Carl said that he would move his schedule around to adjust to us, which means if we're going to be done painting by the end of this week, he could start the flooring by the 24th of September,
as soon as the stuff
which is
comes
next
in.
week.
Yeah.
And
he's got to order it. So obviously it depends when it comes in. Because
once he gets the okay, he'll order the stuff, and if it comes in, he'll start around the 24th and get that done. Then we can move the stuff over and back, and then continue with the.
I did look online. The cost of this stuff is like almost $5 a square foot. So that's more than half of the price is the materials, not the.
Right.
Yeah.
But he did make a point. He did make a point to say it wasn't laminate. It was something else that it's a cut above a regular laminate floor. And
I did, when I was looking on the website too, there is a commercial quality and a residential quality, and this is the commercial quality one that you quoted.
If you want to see, I mean, for your own sake, he did the Muffin House in Mendon. I don't know if he did the one in Medway, but he put a flooring in the Muffin House, and they were ecstatic with the way it came out, because they got burnt by another contractor prior to calling him, and they were not happy with the floor. They were not happy with the work. They were not happy with anything. So they paid the money. He came in and put it in this floor, and it's been over a year, and they told him it was the best decision they made. So, and that's a very high traffic area, the Muffin House. So
yeah, I mean, we're going to be low traffic. This is going to last a long time, I think. To have
I'll be plant food by then.
Yeah, I mean, for myself personally, I might have missed something in an email or something. I would feel, I don't know, a little remiss if I would have. I mean, you can definitely vote and carry it without me, but I feel like I don't know enough to yay or nay something that's going to wipe out our funds, And I hear what you're saying, that we can go back and ask for more. And I don't want to get in the way.
No, you could. We could simply vote to spend $8,022 up to $8,022, and then we could get another proposal from someone, try to get something this week if we could, and then, them not voting on the contractor, but voting on the dollar amount, and then we could give Rick and I the authority, or someone, a group of authority, to make the decision who the contractor is. I just don't know anyone. I don't know how you compare apples to apples unless you're comparing the same product, someone else that can install this same flooring. Because if it's different quality flooring, how do you compare?
And also work with us.
Right. Yeah.
With our timeline.
Yeah.
Yep.
And work with them.
I think what Bernadette has suggested there is all good. I don't want to get in the way of advancing the thing. And truth be told, you guys have a lot more skin in the game. Get going there and moving stuff around. I've been a contractor for over 20 years, and I just feel like I'm ignorant. And I don't know what I don't know. I actually hired a guy to do flooring at my house. Now I realize this is not residential.
Yeah.
Just a quick story. The guy did a terrible job. It was a disaster, and he was not the low bid. And I called the low bidder guy in, because it was just, I had nothing to lose at that point. It was so bad, and he fixed it and made it awesome. And he was great. And I kicked myself, and it was kind of like a lesson learned that don't be scared off necessarily by the low bid, but the low bid guy actually had a great reputation. So,
and there also is nothing requiring us to take the lower bid too. If it's under 10,000, you can actually, because that doesn't meet the threshold of where you have to take the lowest bid. You can say, we know this person, he's done work for us before, even though his bid is X higher, this is the person we think is the right person to do the job. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think we have to ask Carl for references because we know them. I've more than.
He's made a comment that somebody mentioned about when he retires about selling his business. I think Bernadette was telling me that he said he would never sell his business. He would just go out of business because he didn't want anybody to ruin his reputation.
Yeah.
So he would just go out of business and let them open up their own, because he's very particular and he does the work himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't send gypsies out to do the work and then check on it. He does it himself. So, like I said, he lives right up the street on Arrowhead Road. So,
I think his wife was a teacher at Macy too.
Was she?
Yeah. DeCiso, I can never remember his last name. DeCiso, DESISO, I think is his last name.
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah.
So how do we want to proceed with this? Because I think we do need, to approve it, we need 4 people to vote, because we have to have a quorum of members.
Majority.
Yeah, I think we have to have a majority. Unless the rest of you think, I think spending all of our gift fund money should be a consensus decision. I really think it should be.
I mean, if the 3 of you are on board with it, it's like I mentioned before, you have more skin in the game so far in this renovation, as well as, you're comfortable with, and I've already blanked on his name.
Carl.
Carl.
Yeah, Carl.
So, and you're comfortable with Carl.
Yeah.
Then, I'm not going to stand in the way. It's on the record that I just was concerned, and that's all. I just wanted to throw up a cautionary flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I made the motion to hire Carl and spend the $8,022. Is anyone willing to second? I guess.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion's made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Okay.
I'd like to just bring up one other thing while we're still on the renovations. If Bernadette, if you could send a letter, or not send a letter, an email to Dennis.
Yeah.
To get Gary.
Yeah.
On the electrical.
Yeah.
To get moving on the electrical.
What's going on? Yeah, because he was supposed to prepare a proposal last week, right?
Yeah, to get moving on the electrical lighting, because they also talked, just to let Steve and Franco know, he also talked about upgrading the service, because the circuit breaker panel that's in the basement is Federal Pacific, which is no longer in business, and it's in the electrical world, it's considered a junk. It's junk stuff. So he had recommended upgrading the electrical panel. So we're talking a service change, we're talking electrical lighting change, and that's also maybe with the benefit of National Grid kicking in some money on an upgrade for having LEDs. And
when Gary did work for the library, he actually applied for the National Grid
Right.
incentives and just gave us the price. So he knew he was going to get $300 per fixture from National Grid, so he cut our price down to $300 per fixture. So, and he is the town's electrician, so we don't need to go out to bid or anything. He is the town's contractor.
He does everything for the school, and also have him look into the installation of the mini split for the for the air conditioning.
When I did talk to Dennis about the mini splits, I was saying, that in theory, if we have to wait till May town meeting for that wouldn't be the end of the world, because we're not going to need air conditioning before May.
Right.
We have heat, so that could really wait till the next funding cycle to get funding for the mini splits.
Yeah, because I'm looking, that's going to cost I would imagine between $6,000 and $8,000 just for that alone.
And the town is going to take care of that. They asked, Dennis asked us to just take care of the floor, because it's definitely more money than they had originally had planned on spend. I mean, he was talking about just a spruce up of the painting, and I think it's turned into a lot more. It's worth doing. It's beautiful. It's going to be nice. But we have to figure out how to fund it.
Yeah, also the painting, just to let Stephen Franco know too. We found, I guess Ronnie Paulus looked into, the last time the museum was painted was around 1950.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. You know what you're going to say, just I already know.
If you look at me, I was born in 1950. That's 70 years ago.
Yeah.
So
they think that he thinks Dennis said the rug has absolutely not been replaced since 1987, since he's been here, and he thinks it might be original to 1950. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 50s. So so it's money well spent for the town. They got their money's worth out of what's there.
Yeah, right. And it's small money really overall. It's not, it's not a huge renovation, and it's going to make I walked in there today, and just the difference in the paint. Paint is an amazing thing.
Yeah, my wife, my daughter, and I all agree that the current paint scheme is very good.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like the blue. I think it's called Americana, the color of the blue. So it kind of just fits with that historical thing. And the floor is going to look really nice with it. I think when we start decorating, we might do some area rugs somewhere. If you put under some display or whatever, we'll figure out that when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get a group together to figure out a good floor plan and to bring out the items that we need.
I showed you guys this, right? This is the proposed thing for the windows, the Roman shades. So instead of having
pull down shades,
they're shades. They're Roman shades. So they're bamboo. It's bamboo. So we gotta measure the windows. I just got a sample, but I want to see what this looks like with the floor. They're nice because you don't need to have a shade and a curtain. This kind of does both. It filters the sun. And my background is getting in the way here. Yeah. But it's a bamboo shade. And I found the company. They're actually cheaper buying them directly from the company than they are on Amazon. So we'll figure out what we need for those. We have to measure the windows and figure out what we need. But yeah, the curtains, the shades were those old-fashioned roll cracked plastic, So
pull down shades that went out in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, so that's where we stand right now with what's going on as far as the museum renovations. I'm there every morning at 6:30, opening up for them so they.
When I drive by at 8:30, I keep saying, "Oh wow, Rick's not here." I see the door open already. Oh, he must have just left, but I guess you've been gone for hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm there at 6:30, unlocking the door, turning the lights on, turning the fans on, and then they start showing up.
And then you just go back and lock up when they're done.
Yeah. Then I go back and lock up.
Yeah.
When they're done.
I'll see you there on Monday then, because I'm meeting the guy, I think at either 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. to pick up the stone.
Oh,
that was the next thing on. Yeah. That was the next thing on the agenda, Steve. That was good. I was going to ask for the mile marker update.
So
that's
he's
next
picking
Monday?
it up. Yeah.
Yep.
So have you worked out the payment thing with him? Is he going to bill us? Is he going to?
Yeah, he's just going to invoice us.
Okay. Okay. So get the invoice to me, and I'll write him a check and get it out in the mail as soon as we get it. As soon as it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's all covered in plastic.
Yeah.
And it's put all over on the side. I know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well that's good because it wasn't wrapped in plastic when I saw it last. It was
Yeah.
like as you enter the front door, it was towards the
Yeah.
back on the
It's
right.
pretty prominent. It's to the right. It's to the right. You walk in the door. It's to the right, kind of near. Yeah.
Where the
It's pretty easy.
bathroom is, you look to the right.
Yep.
It's right there,
It's pretty easy to find. Yeah.
leaning up against the bell.
Yeah.
I
All right,
put.
that's where I saw it before, but it
Yeah.
wasn't in plastic. So
Yeah.
Yeah. They painted the ceiling all the way up past the bathroom. So.
Yeah.
It took 3 gallons of paint to get that far on the ceiling.
it's
the
a big
color,
ceiling.
but it was crazy because the picture you sent me, you thought the ceiling was white. Once they painted it white, the other side looked brown, not even tan. It looked brown, and I determined I bet they smoked in that building way back
They
then.
absolutely did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. Yeah.
so that's
Okay.
okay.
So we got Steve's mile marker
Yeah.
now. It's the.
Have you done anything with the mile marker as far as replication yet, or is that can wait, I guess, till
Yeah.
it's done?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
kind of backburned
Okay.
that for the moment.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. The Constant Contact newsletter, I sent everyone out the draft copy of what it looks like. Rick, Steve, I'm going to look into what you said about the size. I think they're pretty standard things that Constant Contact just does as far as, because when I looked at it on my phone, it was formatted for the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think the content is a good beginning,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good beginning. It's a good way to start. In theory, if it's this short, I could do one every month if we got enough content to, just tell people what we're doing and what's going on. Because basically you just copy it and then you just change the stories to whatever you want those stories to be. And you could keep things like if we don't have a lot of content, we could keep the link to your YouTube thing, Steve, right there for the next one too, And then I imported, we have 36 people. And I added all of us, the commission members, to the Constant Contact email. So when it goes out, it's going to, and it's 30, we have 36 emails right now. But once we can put that link on the Facebook page right now and on the town page saying, if you want to get the electronic newsletter, sign up. And then we can get more people. So I'll probably do that soon, because that will give us a couple of weeks to get more names for people to sign up. And maybe I'll send it on October 1st, the newsletter. Give us a couple weeks to get more people to sign up. If we put it on the town website and on the Facebook page saying, hey, if you want to subscribe to our newsletter, give us your email address. And then basically you provide the link, they type their name and email address in, and they just get added to the list. So there's nothing to maintain. Who's it going to? They can unsubscribe if they don't want it anymore. It's just done. So what was the other thing that we talked about adding to the Constant Contact? Oh, it was you, Rick, and I were talking about asking people not to send us your COVID stories. So maybe just so we have those as a history thing, and then maybe we can publish some of them in the next newsletter or something. But just so we start, because I think 20 years down the road, if having some of those stories would be cool. We were talking about like, what did the town gather during 9/11? We don't know that there's anything. So we think maybe next year we'll ask people to tell their 9/11 stories for the 20th anniversary, and then
that'd be good.
Then would have those, So try to engage people, have them give us the content, have them be a part of making the history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll get that newsletter out. I'll get the link out this week, and I'll get the first newsletter out the first week of October.
Cool. Next, we were going to talk about the mission statement.
Yeah. Where are we with the mission statement?
I think Frank and I had both submitted one. I didn't get any. He did his first, so I, took a look at his and incorporated the ideas from there and other sources. But I haven't gotten any feedback on the one I sent. So
okay, so let's add to the minutes that we're looking for feedback, and then maybe next meeting we can have a first reading of, because you need 2 readings of it's a policy. You need to read it at 2 meetings, I think, is the best way to let the public know that this is our new mission statement. Not that anyone is really following us, but it's a good thing to do is have it. You read, this is our mission statement, first reading, and at the second meeting you adopt it. So I'll get out to the commission members that were looking for feedback on. I'll find what it is, send it out to everyone. I'll include it in the minutes and let people know that they should get feedback to you, Steve or Frank, before the next meeting.
okay,
Yeah.
sounds
That's
good.
the main thing, is just getting feedback for our that sort of thing. So just to kind of, so we can have something that streamlined more.
Mhm.
Because I guess me and Steve, between the two of us, is just like, it might sound good to us, but
Yeah.
getting
Everyone should actually you say yes, this is good with, we should get feedback. We should ask people to specifically give feedback on the statement. We're looking for all members to give feedback on the statement. Because we can't discuss it together, but we could give feedback and then we discuss it at the meeting, whatever the feedback is.
That sounds good. All right. And the only other thing, well, not the only other thing, we had two more items, was Bob, I guess, didn't jump in, but he was worried about this Domino's, what was happening with Domino's, and if we could stop it, and we can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't have any input into what happens there.
No.
The consensus, I think, is it's going to be green space. So obviously, I think if we were having a program and we could do something on the side of the building, we could use it as town green space, but it's not going to be our land. I mean, I don't think we have any expectation that that's going to happen. I think he was concerned it was going to be made into more parking, was what his concern. And there's no way they can put parking there because it would be where it is. It just won't make sense because they already have that new fence. I don't know if the fence is going to get taken down or moved, or we just have two separate areas that they're access pointing in.
I'll tell you, the thing is that what's going on is I know Domino's has got to go because they're going to put another lane there.
Right. Yes.
And we're going to get what's left, and that's most likely where we're going to put the new sign down the road or on the building or whatever.
Right.
And but what's happening there in the center of town, if you don't know, is that road going into the town hall and Walgreens, that road's going to continue beyond the town hall into the back and connect onto Mill Street, where the old post office used to be at the end of Mill Street. There's 90 houses going in there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna come around and come out down on 140. So
it comes out by Antron Engineering, I think. It's gonna be
that whole sand pit back there is gonna be all built up with I think condos, because I think there's more than they're gonna be 1, 2, 3 unit.
Yeah, and I think there's another warehouse going in down there too.
There might be.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
further down. There's another warehouse going in too, I think.
Yeah, right across from
PJ's.
Right across from Antron.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie DePrato had that building, and all the houses there. Matt Clark bought them all, and that's all coming out of there because they're putting 250 apartments in there, 5 buildings. So, it's going to be quite built up, and I think there's going to be another traffic light down there. So things are building up in the town, and all this stuff has already been approved. So.
I mean, every day when I go home that way, you can't get through. You end up there's a bottleneck there because I'm going straight onto North Main Street, and all those people that are going left onto 140 are just blocking that road. So they really do need to make a wider second lane there.
So
that's what Maple Street's for.
That's what Maple. Yeah. Actually, I can go Maple to High to get home too, which I do if it's really bad. Yes.
I'll second that, Steve.
I'll go. I can go Maple Street to High Street too.
Yeah. Things are changing in the center of town. But.
Yeah. I think I think it's going to be green space, and we'll be able to. Obviously, we'll be able to utilize. We had talked about getting a flag to put out when we're open, so we could have let people know that the museum's open. So.
Yep.
I think green space there would be fantastic because I mentioned in the email, having open air programs.
Yeah.
I've done that in Medfield, and you're out there with some kind of historic display, and people just whip in off the road that would never.
Come to stuff. Yeah, absolutely. It's it is a good location for that kind of. I was thinking that we could talk about doing programs before, like if there's a meeting at town hall that starts at 7, have a program at 6 o'clock and encourage people to come early to participate in something before they go to a meeting at the municipal center, So there's lots of ways to get people to come in once we can have people meeting again in person.
It's before we kind of cross off the renovation. Just I had mentioned it before, and just the color intensity of the lights. Before they actually go in, that should be a discussion because where this is a museum, right? It's a little bit different than other use cases, and in this case, we want the lights to be a slightly. a slightly more less blue, a little bit more towards reddish.
Okay.
And usually what you'll find is display cases and stuff have a brighter, whiter light in them, to draw people as they walk through. That they're drawn to the cases.
The
You know what I
other
mean?
thing that I think we ought to talk about is making the lights dimmable too. So you can do, if they're just LED lights, you can probably put them on dimmer switches, so you can do, because we do that here. Things, different lights are different. It's great because you can, if you're showing a video or something, you can bring the lights down and
Actually, I'm a beta tester right now for Schneider Electric, and they're coming out with dimming controls. So if you can do that, if you can do it as a 0 to 10 volt system, that's the way to go.
When Gary did the LED, their LED lights here, we have dimmers because they're so bright. At first it was like they were really bright. So I will mention that. I'll probably ask Dennis if I can talk to Gary directly, because I've worked with Gary on library projects. So I'll just get.
I might be able to get Schneider to donate, controls. If you can get the fixtures to be, 0, 1 to 10 volt fixtures, and they donate the control system.
0, 1 to 10 is what you said?
0 to 10?
0 to 10
volts, or 1 to 10 volts. One of those two standards. That way we can actually do scene selection.
You know what? Maybe I'll give Steve. You wouldn't mind me giving Gary your phone number if he wants to talk to you about it, would you?
Not at all. I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gary Remillard. Yeah.
I was going to say I'd like to have Gary Remillard consult with Steve.
Yeah.
On lighting, as far as what we're going to do with lighting, because I'll be the first to say it. I may install lighting and I may be an electrician, but I know nothing about this new LED lighting and the different facets of it.
I have LEDs. I have the light bulbs at home that you can talk to and tell them to change colors and stuff. They're kind of fun.
Yeah. No, that's
Alexa turns my lights off and off at home.
I retired before that hit the market, so I'd really like Gary to.
Okay, that's good. That's a good way. I'll talk to Dennis about Gary consulting with Steve on the lighting.
On the lighting. Yeah.
And the last thing I had, one thing we talked about that we just kind of tipped over, was the Crimfield comments, the creation of the November or December, whenever we get it out, issue of the Crimfield comments. We had talked about doing a veterans issue. I don't know where to be. Do we have a person we could focus a
Veterans?
I don't know. Yeah, veterans.
Jim Hastings.
Oh yeah, I know Jim. So just get someone to. Because I don't, maybe actually, because I don't know, they might not be able to do a Veterans Day program this year because of COVID. So maybe we could kind of highlight. Actually, I just talked to Jim today about something else. That's okay. That's good. Because I need to figure out. Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah, to figure out, is there a veteran we should focus on? I know we could talk about the towns become the Purple Heart town. That there's those things those kinds of things we can talk. I don't know. Are there any World War II veterans left? Someone to talk about Pearl Harbor.
Is Alfred Consigli still living?
I don't know.
I might try to dig him up. He's a good storyteller. I've seen him do big scale public speaking stuff as recently as last year. So, but he's way up there.
Even if he could just write an article for us about whatever his World War II experience was to include in the, but a program would be great. A program would be great, but just something I need. I mean, the Crimfield comments was 16 pages before. I don't know that we need that much content. I'd rather have 4 to 6 pages of good information than, before it had some recipes and poems and, to me, it looked like filler, which is okay. But what are we trying to do? What's the scope is, I think getting some good information about town history is what the goal is. So if we're going to do veterans, let's get some.
Yeah, and I mean, even like my old partner there, Joe Deloria, his son.
Yeah. He's
living in Florida now, born and brought up right here in Bellingham, and he's the one that's he was the Grand Marshal one year.
Yeah.
He's gotten blown up. He lost both legs and one arm, and
wow.
In Afghanistan.
Yeah. So just someone, I don't know, maybe, or even if we could prepare like a question thing that they could answer the questions for us, and it could be like an interview that we publish.
Yeah, because they've done a lot. Right now, the poor kid has been through hell since he was in the explosion.
Yeah.
And now he's at Walter Reed and they're putting in these big stud pins or whatever into his above his knee, what's left of his legs, so that they can so that he can eventually be able to get up and walk again.
Yeah.
Because he's been in a chair ever since, but I mean, there's basically our hometown hero. And,
Yeah, I mean, that would be, I think a good way to do that would be if we just sent them interview questions that they could write his answers to, and then we just publish an interview.
Yeah, yeah, the guy he's such an inspiration. I'm telling you, he's got a family, 2 kids, and I think the Homes for Heroes built him a home down there near Destin, Florida, and he's got a home, and he goes hunting.
Maybe it'd be good to if we could try to get a veteran from each one. We got a World War II, so you said it's maybe a World War II one. If we get a Vietnam veteran, a Korean, and get like one, do a short bio of all of the major wars since war. We're not going to find a World War I, but there might be a World War II person, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm. Try to find one from each of the. And that's where Jim can probably help me with that.
Yeah, definitely, because he'll know the ones that'll talk.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
there are a lot of people that have a lot of stories out there, but they won't talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
I know my father was a POW in World War II, and he went to 6 different German work camps, but it took my father 50 years to talk about it.
I never knew my father had a Purple Heart from World War II until the day he died. Like, they were taking out his stuff. It's like, oh, he has a Purple Heart? Like, who knew?
Yeah. They didn't talk about it.
Yeah, right. But try to find people that will. I mean, and I know like Marjorie. You guys know Marjorie Turner Holman. She's done interviews with a whole bunch of them too. That and maybe we could get permission, because if Pam has published those in the bulletin, she might be able to give us permission to just share those stories too that have already been published in the Bellingham bulletin, and then we're not rewriting something. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Pam, because if she's got some stories that could be just because all we can say is originally published in the Bellingham bulletin, and then we publish them too to get them out. Because it's a different audience. It's we're sending some things that are going out. I mean, half of our mailing list is out of state, so we're sending things to people that aren't here anymore, so they might not have read it in the Bellingham bulletin. Okay, I'll keep brainstorming about how to get this.
Yeah.
I really would like to get it done for Veterans Day if we can, to get the Crimfield comments done.
Well, I'm sure we'll figure out something and get that done. And then the last thing we were going to talk about, in fact, was Steve's program for seniors.
Oh, so the future program plan. The program that we did for the senior center, Steve, the one Rick, you and I did. And I was saying, your program already happened, but it's recorded, so you can still talk about the short story of the French neutrals, and then we could just link people to the YouTube if they want to see, they want to hear the whole story. And then I could talk about the book, and Rick could talk about the fire engine, and we could, kind of do the same thing we did for the senior center, but do it for a general audience that is that we promoted as our program, not the senior center's program.
Sure.
I think that would be a good, good thing to do. I don't know, maybe late October.
Sure. Yep. I actually have another one, and I don't know if it's too narrowly focused, but I did one for St. Brendan's Parish, and it's a history of Catholics in Bellingham. So
whoever, I think you try it. If you get 10 people to come, you get 10. And if we do record them and they're good, then they're there forever. That's a good thing about the recording is, not that you don't have to do it again, but it can be watched anytime. It would be interesting. I haven't looked at the YouTube of the French neutrals, but it'd be interesting to see if we do publicize it again, does the views go up? Because before I do the newsletter, I'll write down the number of views it's had before I do it, just so we can see our people clicking and our people watching. Because then it's worth sharing. Again. So I don't know what else. I mean, I have a lot going on. I don't know what else I could do besides that. The other thing that I'm doing for tonight, actually, after this meeting's over, the library is doing a discussion of the book that we wrote. So we have myself, Marjorie, and Pam are going to be on with a group of library people that are a book discussion on the book. But there are definitely great stories in there that are definitely Bellingham. I mean, the Cartier. You guys know the Cartier funeral home story when they bought out this nursing funeral home in Woonsocket, I forget how many years ago, and didn't realize that a bunch of people had prepaid for their funerals, and that was never part of the deal. and they basically gave all these people a free funeral that they didn't pay for. You know,
Minaj.
that's like a hero story. That's like someone that just stepped up to the plate, a small business stepping up to the plate when things, that was when Pam interviewed them for the book about, we were doing multi-generation businesses in Bellingham.
Yep.
People have been around a long time, and they told her the story that they
Yeah,
bought.
he bought out Minaj Funeral Home on Providence Street.
Yeah, and whatever it was, he didn't realize that they had commitments to other people. It
Yep.
wasn't disclosed, and he honored all those commitments, even though
The
he
thing
didn't
is,
have
he never said anything. When the
Yeah.
people showed up and
Yeah.
they said that, because what happened was, because I was working for Frank
to. Okay.
at the time,
Mhm.
and what happened was the people, when Frank bought Minaj Funeral Home, which used to be Prada Funeral Home, when he bought it out, he found out after that there were all these prepaid funerals, but this guy took the money and he went and gambled. And he gambled all the money away.
Yeah.
And he wound up, I don't know if he went to jail, but he wound up getting in deep trouble over it. But when these people came, he worked with them and
Yeah.
he just did the funerals. I mean,
Yeah.
I did a lot of the
So
funerals.
that was just a
And
great, that
nobody
was a
got
great
paid.
small business doing the right thing story. You know, a
Yeah.
hard right thing. Yeah.
It came out of his pocket.
Yeah.
I'm just
know?
throwing this out there that if I disappear, it's because my battery's going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're
we've
just about done,
covered-
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered everything,
Yeah.
unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up.
I
Well-
just want to throw out the idea. I don't know how the renovations are going and where we'll end up. This is probably premature, but maybe I'll just plant the seed now. That in terms of, you know, what the layout of the museum is going to be like once we're able to put stuff back on display. I was thinking, you know, like, would it be a chronological, you know, layout?
I thought of chronological. I also thought of, I don't know how to describe it, like function. So like police and fire or military, and then a section.
Oh.
You could put like stuff together
Yeah.
too. Chronological, chronological is great if you know when everything was dated, but I think that might be harder for us to know all those things. And you know, if someone's interested in schools, this is the history of the Bellingham schools. You go to that kind of corner. So we can further discuss this down the road. I think that's the thing. But I think there should be a discussion of how we put it back together. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure if we have a firm chronological sort of placement of everything.
Yeah.
Really.
No.
So,
Yeah, I think a corner, a sections my vision when we first opened the door is we'll have a bunch of the 300th anniversary stuff right in the front and center. This is, you know, the stuff we did for the 300th anniversary is kind of highlighted because I have all that stuff here. I have the time capsule actually that still hasn't been closed for the 300th anniversary yet. And I think that could be an event that we do maybe as a part of a grand opening of the museum when we reopen, is that we close the time capsule and put all that stuff that was from the 300th in the time capsule to be open. Those are usually open 25 years later. So that would be open in 2044.
Yeah, no, I think what we're gonna do is I'll look for a committee
Yeah.
at the time, once we're done the renovations,
Yeah.
to do the layout and decorating, if you want to call it that. But I think, yeah, we can do that in the future.
And I think if we have some things like most museums, you have displays that are there all the time, permanent displays, and then you have a space for things that you can rotate in and out, that you can, you know, temporary displays of things that make sense for whatever the temporary things are. So that's kind of my vision of how we do it. So we have maybe the four corners of the building are the permanent stuff, and then in the middle you have more fluid things. But that's a lot to do. That's a lot of stuff to go through and figure out there.
Yeah, that we could cover a little bit later, but I don't want to lose Steve there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I want to ask is I don't know what the rules are, and would anybody object? There's a little machine down in the basement. It looks like it was probably done in the 1930s. It's got a little electrical contacts, and it has machines from a mill, but they're miniature. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't.
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
But I was going to take that home with me unless somebody objects and try to repair it.
I would, you know
Yeah.
what, just send an email to the group saying you're doing that so we have a record that you have it.
Yeah.
I think that's the best, that's probably the, then we know where
Yeah,
it
I
is.
got no
Yep.
problem with that.
Yeah,
No.
no, if you, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know where it is now, or was it?
Oh yeah, it's in the basement. Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it recently. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I would just send an email to the group what it is, so we know that you have it. There's a record of where it is.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up? Because I think Bernadette's going to have another meeting coming up here
Yeah,
very
I do.
shortly. So,
I got another at 6:30, and I want to get home. I'm at the library now, so I want to get home for the 6:30 meeting.
all right.
Okay.
So
Great. Thank you, everybody.
now we're up for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. 5:46.
All right. We got a motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
All right. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Steve.
Good night.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Franco.
Yep, no problem.